Ciao everyone and welcome back to a new episode of Learn Italian with Songs. Namely, today we are going to talk about Anema e Core by Serena Brancale. That ranked too low. Too really, truly too low. 24th position out of 30. 29 actually, because someone got eliminated before even starting, but we are going to talk about it later. So, hi. Let's start as usually. Let's start. I am too excited because I love this song. Full disclosure, the discussion part will be basically me simping on Serena Brancale, so just so you know. That said, we can start as usual from the title. This song, and starting from the title we can see it, is a good example of how different Italian and Italian dialects can be. I was reading an article, watching a short. I don't remember where I assimilated this information, but basically it was native English speaker explaining that at least for English speakers, dialects are more different accents. So you start with the same base, linguistically speaking, and then you pronounce things a little bit differently. In Italy, it is not like that. In fact, if you have Italian friends with whom you talk Italian, you will see that some words won't be the same you learned, because it can be they are using dialect. For the same reason, always be very careful when you see the shorts, videos, and whatnot saying, in Italian we say this, because actually it can happen that what you hear from these creators, from these people, it is correct, but only in the dialect, so it is not actual Italian. And this can make all the difference, because Italian dialects should be dignified as true languages. They can be so different because they can be based on other languages besides Italian. For example, we have several differences between the dialects from certain regions of South Italy and Italian, because the syntax, the grammar is closer to Spanish, for example. Fun fact, there is a dialect typical from a city in Apulia, that is based on ancient Greek. And in fact, my ancient Greek professor from the start of high school had a guilty pleasure that was going to this place in Puglia just so she could speak ancient Greek, which is very funny if you think about it, but it is actually true. We have, for example, certain, as far as I know, only one Italian dialect that is recognized as a language, and it is lingua sarda or sardo, which is the dialect spoken in Sardinia. However, other languages, other dialects are considered by their speakers, like true languages. For example, I watched interviews concerning singers from Naples or Campania. Campania is the region where Naples is. And they were saying, for me, is like being bilingual, because my native language to me is not Italian, is Napolitan, is Napoletano, and it makes sense. Like, I'm not joking, it actually makes sense. Same thing, we have regions where dialect is more spoken, like Sicily. Again, another language that is very difficult. If you want a demonstration, you can read pretty much all the books from Andrea Camilleri. Andrea Camilleri was, sadly, a writer from Sicily. And if you read the novels of Commissario Montalbano, which is investigative as a genre, you will see that often you have the character speaking in Siciliano, the dialect of Sicily. And you will find at the bottom of the page the translation in Italian, so you can compare the difference, because I can tell you many Italians cannot understand the dialects from other regions. For example, I am from Piemonte, which is close to France, and due to this, my dialect is based on French. This doesn't mean that it is easy for me to speak French, because in the end it is a mix. So it's something separated. But for me, it is probably easier to understand French than understanding, for example, Siciliano. There are some dialects I'm more used to because I have friends speaking it. For example, I have many friends from Campania, so I am more used among the dialects from the southern regions. I am more used to Napoletano, but for example, I don't understand Siciliano, or only some words. But again, it is like talking about actual languages. And we'll see it because Anema e Core not only has the title in dialect, but also an entire verse, if I remember correctly. Anyway, there is a good portion in dialect. But what dialect? You might think, if you know Serena Brancale as an artist, that the dialect used there is Pugliese. So, the dialect spoken in Apulia. But it's not like that, because she's from Apulia. It's not like that because she's actually using dialetto napoletano, so from Naples, or generally speaking from Campania, which is the region where Naples is. And in fact, anima e core means soul and heart. However, in Italian, this is anima e cuore. Can you hear the difference between anima e core and anima e cuore? It is similar. In fact, there are portions of Napolitans mainly written, because spoken is much more difficult, but at least written easier to understand. But other parts are not like this at all. And in fact, another disclaimer, I will try to read Napolitan, but keep in mind that my dialect is completely different and I am not that good at pronouncing it. So if you have friends from Naples, or generally speaking, access to the song, listen to that. Like, don't quote me on that, because it is not my dialect. So my pronunciation, it is not good. Go and listen to the song, because you have to have in mind that. That said, we talked about the title. Let's talk about the meaning of the song, the theme, okay? First of all, it is, meaning-wise, a song very simple, because the idea is not much about writing and singing a like deep lyrics, okay? It is more for the music, for the vibe, for the imagery, but the song, nonetheless, it is incredibly beautiful, just like the artist who made it. And due to this, the explanation of the theme is quite easy. I'm quoting from what the artist Serena Brancale said in an interview, of course translated. The song talks about exactly this, about how over the years you manage to give the right meaning to things, to have fun for an outing, a coffee, a love story. So it is about being present in the moment and enjoying it, which is the reason why, in my opinion, she chose napoletano, dialetto napoletano, because ideally this idea of enjoying the moment, living in the moment, it is quite true, in my opinion, for cultura campana, so the culture of the region where Naples is. The text, the lyrics, was born from a communion of intent between friends. And in the music, there is a bit of jazz and a bit of electronics, as you heard last year in Baccalà. Baccalà is another famous song by Serena Brancale. Of course, here we have some jazz nuances because she is a... she's specialized in this genre, so this is pretty much it. It is quite simple, but a good demonstration of how something simple can be very enjoyable nonetheless. That said, let's check out the lyrics. Ti penso tra le vie. I think about you in the streets. E quando vedo le scie, and when I see the trails, delle barche in questo mare, of the boats in this sea. Beautiful image that is also well communicated by the visuals of the official video. Carpe diem. Okay, what does carpe diem mean? Okay, carpe diem is a Latin aphorism, expression, if you will, which usually in English is translated as seize the day. Good translation because it is literal. Because carpe means grab, seize, okay, and diem is the day. So the translation usually used in English, it is literal. So in my opinion, it is a good translation. In Italian, we have this expression used in its Italian version, so we can both use carpe diem or its Italian translation. However, the Italian translation, it is not as literal as the English one. In fact, in Italian, we say cogli l'attimo, which is like catch the moment, pick the moment, because usually cogliere, it means to take, but it is used often in expressions like with flowers or fruits. So it is this idea of taking something valuable like a flower or a fruit, ok? Domani le tue bugie, tomorrow your lies, non le voglio più ascoltare. I don't want to listen to them anymore. Now we have non le voglio più ascoltare, which is I don't want, non voglio più anymore, ascoltare, to listen, le, to them. As you can see, it was quite hard to keep the literal translation because the English sentence structure doesn't support the same word order of Italian, but I hope I managed to give you the idea of both the Italian structure but also the meaning of the sentence. Then we have a quick bridge. La mia anima canta. My soul sings. È una camicia bianca. It's a white shirt. Che mi sventola addosso. That's waving on me. As you can see, until now, the lyrics are more focused on describing an imagery, okay? They are painting a picture that, as I was saying, it is well represented by the visual video. So I really suggest you to go and watch not only the song like on YouTube Music with only the music, but also to watch the video, because the visual of the videos transmit very well what she's singing about. Then we have a very quick pre-chorus that connects the section before to the chorus. Stanotte saremo 2 stelle del cinema. Tonight will be 2 movie stars. Italo-americano. Italian-American. So the whole sentence would be: stanotte saremo 2 stelle del cinema americano. Tonight we will be 2 Italo-American movie stars. Okay, but there is this break in the sentence, so I had to explain. Dammi un bacio, give me a kiss, su un taxi cabrio, in a cabriolet taxi, so those taxi without the roof. Un bacio che sarà vere. A kiss that, literally speaking, it has to be seen. And then we have repeated, sarà vere. Now, these parts highlighted in green are in Napolitan, while the blue is the Italian equivalent. So we have this expression, sarà vere, which in Italian would be quite similar, è da vedere. It is a literal translation, it is just that one is in Napolitan and one is in Italian. Now, in English, there is a similar expression as in we will see, okay? In fact, in Italian you can have è da vedere or also vedremo. Vedremo is literally we will see. I don't remember exactly if the English version has the same meaning of Italian one, so I'm going to explain it just to be sure. This expression, so è da vedere or vedremo, it means that's up for debate. So, what's the meaning here? We have the singer, the protagonist, telling to her lover that she wants a change. We have this beautiful landscape she is looking at, and she thinks, seize the moment, I want to live right now, in the moment. So I don't care what lies you'll tell me today. I want to live now with you. And tonight we'll feel like in a romantic scenery, we'll feel like 2 movie stars. You will give me a kiss, but We'll see that's up for debate, the kiss, because it depends on how you behave. So, we'll have a kiss if you behave properly tonight with me. Then we have the second part of the chorus, Baby I love you, no need to translate, Nenne ti amo, which is again Baby I love you. However, as I explained in other videos, in Italian we used we adopted the expression baby, used with affection like dear, honey, and whatnot. So we either use these or bambina, which is a little bit like the literal translation. However, Napolitan has the equivalent of baby, like literally speaking, which is nenne. Now, I really don't have such big knowledge concerning Napolitan. I barely know my own dialect, so what I did was researching as usual. It appears that nenne comes from Spanish. Napolitan, in fact, is one of those dialects who absorbed a lot of the Spanish languages. So, nenne could come from niño, which in Spanish means child, masculine. To be honest, I don't know if nenne is gender neutral. As far as I understood, yes. So it could come from niño as much as niña, because it is like baby, so genderless. You can call nenne both a man or a woman, but also children. It is generally like honey, dear, and whatnot. Napolitan friends, if I'm making mistakes and saying wrong things, please let me know in the comments. Non lo so, I don't know, se ti suonerà neo-melodico, if to you it will sound neo-melodic. What is neo-melodic? Okay, neo-melodic music is a musical genre derived from Napolitan song, like the classic Napolitan song with the mandolino, you know, and social origin. So it is, a Napolitan song, but which stands out for its modernity and social origin. So, neo-melodic is a type of music that is deeply grounded into Napolitan culture. But it was modified to and adapted for nowadays taste, let's say. It develops mainly in Naples and other parts of southern Italy. And in fact, Serena Brancale is from Apulia, another one of the Italian region in the south. It is basically the heel of the boot, to put it in perspective. And is characterized by talking about the life of the neighborhoods and the strong and not always positive emotion that characterize it. But it is also used a lot for love songs, and in fact, in its own way, this is a love song. Ma stanotte ti dedico, but tonight I dedicate to you. So here the singer, the protagonist, he is saying, I don't know if feels neo-melodic, because in this case suonerà, it will sound, because in Italian, when something sounds like something else, it means also feels like something. I don't remember if in English you can use the verb sound in the same way, but in Italian you can say, for example, mi suona familiare, which literally translates as it sounds familiar. I guess you can say it as well in English, but I'm not 100% sure. but it basically means it feels familiar. So she's saying, I don't know if this feels new melodic, but tonight, I dedicate to you Anima e Core, repeated 3 times. So soul and heart. And as I was saying, we have Anima e Core in Napolitan, which in Italian is Anima e Cuore. You can already see the difference a bit, right? So you have already this repetition. And the idea is that I don't know if it feels new melodic because the topics mainly sung in this genre are love songs. Okay, love song is a big part of new melodic music. But tonight I dedicate to you my soul and heart, both because she's saying this in Napolitan, but also because she is mentioning a topic, the love song or love in general, which is typical of new melodic genre. Then we have the first verse. Perché metti questa cassa dritta? Why do you put this, and I had to translate it literally, box straight. Cassa can be crate, can be box. We'll see specifically what it actually means. Now, I have to make this whole explanation because mettere la cassa dritta, or generally cassa dritta, is a metaphorical expression in Italian. And at the beginning, I didn't even know how to explain this. It is one of those things like, okay, now explain to a non-Italian what is the cassa dritta, because it is tricky, believe me. Now, if I had to translate it as to convey the meaning, it should be straight drum. Okay, why the straight drum? Because the straight drum indicates a part of the drum, the whole complex played by the batterist, the one with the pedal. Okay, so we are talking about the big drum in the center that is hit by the pedal. Because in this case, we are metaphorically meaning the very fast beat against this drum. So, even further, in other words, the bass drum is hit in a constant and uniform way at each beat for the duration of the entire song, hinting at the rhythms typical of the EDM and Italian disco. So, when you say mettere la cassa dritta, so to put the box straight or the straight drum, okay, it means to put on, to play a song which is characterized by this singular type of rhythm that I described, which is very common in EDM and Italo disco. I hope it was clear. It is even more clear with the second line. Io con te vorrei ballare salsa. With you, I would like to dance salsa. So, don't put this disco dance, don't put this clubbing music, because with you, I want to dance salsa. Tipo Soli Soli sulla Rambla, like All Alone on the Rambla. What is the Rambla? And I quote, Main Street of Barcelona. Maria Callas canta. Maria Callas sings. who was Maria Callas, a US-born soprano of Greek origin, naturalized Italian and later Greek. Very famous in Italy. And then we have in the chorus on the background someone saying Lazzi. Now, I can't say I know for sure what this word means, but I have two main leading theories, and it could be both. First of all, it can be the Napolitan equivalent of the Italian furbetto, which is smart ass, but the term is not as insulting as in English, so that's why it's not that easy to translate. But like smart ass, but less insulting, to put it in perspective. But the other possible interpretation is Lazzi as la zia, the aunt. Okay, why? The aunt is a character we meet often, quite often in Serena Brancale's songs. Who is this person? Who is this aunt? In an interview she said, the aunt is not a specific person. She is the classic woman from Bari. Bari is the main city of Apulia, where Serena comes from. That I like to imagine, who brings to children meat rolls, and here I'm sorry all friends from Bari, gumirid to eat. So basically, on one side we have this aunt, which is the Apulia aunt, making these very typical meat rolls from Apulia to give them to the children. So like the aunt taking care of children, okay? This idea. But this aunt from Apulia is double faces because she's more than that. She's the one taking care of the children during the day, but at night she becomes she shows a dark side because she deals drugs. So an aunt that it is nice and kind with children during the day, and a bad bitch boss during night. I love this image. And then we have the last section of the core of the verse. Sorry. Cosa vuoi davvero? Soldi o libertà? What do you really want? Money or freedom? Che ti saluti dal balcone la città? That the city greets you from the balcony. Che ti saluti is an example of subjunctive. So basically, here she's asking, what do you really what do you really want? Money or freedom? Do you want that the city greets you from the balcony? No. L'eleganza viene dal basso come il jazz. Elegance comes from below like jazz. And then once again we have the pre-chorus and the chorus. Stanotte saremo due stelle del cinema italo-americano. Tonight we will be two Italian-American movie stars. Dammi un bacio su un taxi cabrio, give me a kiss in a cabriolet taxi, un bacio che sarà vere. A kiss that it has to be seen, that is up to, for debate. Sarà vere, sarà vere. It has to be seen, we will see, we will see. Baby I love you, Nenne ti amo. So again, baby I love you. Non lo so, I don't know, se ti suonerà neomelodico. If to you it will sound, this will sound new melodic. Ma stanotte ti dedico, but tonight I dedicate to you. Anima e core. Soul, as in my soul and heart. I dedicate myself to you. I'm yours. Then we have a post-chorus, which is a repetition of the first section of the chorus. Italo-americano, Italian-American, dammi un bacio, give me a kiss, su un taxi cabrio, in a cabriolet taxi. Un bacio che sarà verè, sarà verè, sarà verè. A kiss that is up for debate. Repeated 3 times. Then we have the second verse, and here, guys, tragedy, because this part is full on Napolitan. So, mercy, please. Perché io e te, because you and I, which in Italian would sound perché, perché instead of perché. Io e te stays the same. However, there is a little bit like te, it is a little bit more marked and closed. I am ruined because in my dialect we open all the vowels, so I'm sorry. Perdonate ai miei amici di Napoli. Anyway, you can hear the difference between perché io e te and perché io e te. It's a bit cut, ok? Siamo una cosa sola. In Italian, siamo una cosa sola. We are one thing. I know that in English, usually you say we are one, okay? But in Italian, we have to be specific, so we say the whole thing. So we say siamo una cosa sola. And until now, you see some differences, but we are still on the same wavelength. Siamo due facce della stessa luna. Siamo due facce della stessa luna. We are two sides, literally two faces, of the same moon. So again, we are one, we are the same. Come sta collana che porta fortuna. Come questa, or even sta, because also in Italian it is used the truncated form. Come questa collana, or come sta collana che porta fortuna. So the only difference is come, which is like, I can't really pronounce it properly because again it is not my dialect, but it is more cut and the O is a bit different. Like this necklace that brings good luck. Bra ussa, and here guys, I have to be honest, this portion of the song, I couldn't find the translation because the first part is easy. It's almost like in Italian. This part, at least for the beginning, I have no clue. I didn't have time to talk with one of my friends from Naples. I guess I'll try to ask them when I have time to see if I understood properly. Bra, I raise my hands, I don't know. Usa, I think it means to sai, so you know. Mariuolo, mascalzone. In Italian, we don't really use this word. But like, why am I telling you that I'm sure that some the translation I found are wrong? Because Mariuolo was translated as amore, but no. Mariuolo, from Napolitan, generated an Italian equivalent, which is Mariolo, and it means rascal, thief. You get the idea. So like they completely, because here of course I translated it as rascal because it is like smartass. Probably should have translated that part with rascal as well, because it is to joke. It is not an insult, and it is said with affection. So basically she's saying, you know, rascal, non si danno densa a nessuno, which I think means non dare retta a nessuno, which means in English, don't listen to anyone. So, you know, rascal, don't listen to anyone. Tu sta con me, tu stai con me, you stay with me. Per far l'amore, to make love, io voglio te, io voglio te, I want you. Che fatica. Anima e core, anima e cuore, soul and heart. So, to put everything together, you know, rascal, don't listen to the other people, don't listen to anyone, you stay with me, you are with me, we are together. To make love, I want you with my whole soul and heart. So it is basically a declaration of love. Again, I'm not sure about this part because as you can see it's quite different from Italian, so non ho più certezze nella mia vita. But here it is interesting to see that in Napolitan you say I want to. Our Spanish friend will probably understand because in Spanish the verb to want is in a different construction than Italian, because Italian, just like in English, says I want you, okay? Spanish and Napolitan say I want to you, okay? It is, I think in Spanish they also have the same construction of Italian and English. I'm not sure. I'm not that good with Spanish yet. But Napolitan really keeps this construction. So you might hear people from Napoli or Campania translating the same construction in Italian. So you might hear them saying io voglio a te instead of io voglio te. Technically in Italian it is wrong, but they are simply translating from their dialect. That's why I'm saying always keep in mind that for Italians, our dialects are fundamental and we often translate certain structures, certain syntax, grammar rules to Italian. And I'll tell you, I speak usually quite correctly in Italian. Usually I don't take from my dialect because I am not used to speak my dialect. However, there are certain structures that I am so used to hear because everyone from my city and the cities nearby uses that I make that mistake. And I have to think while I'll write documents or things like that to not make these mistakes. This is even more true in regions where dialects is spoken more than Italian, for example Campania, and even more Napoli. As I was explaining at the beginning, for many people from Campania and even more from Napoli, Napoletano, is their first language. To them, Napoletano is their first language because they have their culture and their existence as a human being is closer to the dialect than to Italian. To Italian and Italy. And in fact the whole thing about Italians feel Italian first, European after, and then related to their region. No. If I had to make a guess, I would say region first, Italy second, Europe last. and world even farther beyond. Because again, how can you tell me that someone is Italian first and then like related to the region if they speak and consider their native language, if they speak first and then consider their native language, their dialect? Weird. And then we have the outro, which is pretty much a little variation of the chorus. Italo-americano, Italian-American, dammi un bacio, give me a kiss, su un taxi cabrio, in a cabriolet taxi, un bacio che sarà verè, sarà verè, sarà verè. A kiss that is up for debate. Baby I love you, nennè ti amo, non lo so, I don't know, se ti suonerà neomelodico, if to you it will sound neo-melodic, ma stanotte ti dedico, but tonight I dedicate to you, anima e core, anima e core, anima e core, repeat it 3 times, soul and heart. Then we have, once again, to end the song and the outro, the repetition of the start of the chorus. Italo-americano, Italian-American, dammi un bacio, give me a kiss, su un taxi cabrio, in a cabriolet taxi. Un bacio che sarà verè, sarà verè, sarà verè. A kiss that is up for debate, with the chorus and Serena Brancale ending with bra la zi. Furbetto, smartas, but also the whole discussion I had about la zia. Bra, I still have no clue. I'm sorry, guys. I have my limits as a human being. Explanation in the comment section are well appreciated. So, it is time for the gossip. And what I'm trying to get water, but I cannot see with these glasses. And what drama can we have if not the fact that there's basically no drama? Like, the only drama I can give to you is the fact that she ranked, let me check my notes, 24th out of 30, actually 29. Hashtag justice for anime chorus di Serena Brancale. Hashtag justice for Serena Brancale. Because what do you want me to say? It's just like not fair. Not fair. Jokes aside, of course, the ranking of Sanremo Music Festival, it is what it is. And now, however, Justice, she is, like, her song is one of the most popular for a series of reasons, because musically speaking it is amazing, because her performance was amazing too, because she had all the instruments, because her voice is amazing, because her performance is amazing, because she's amazing, she's so beautiful, like she's, as we like to say in ancient Greek when I was studying at school, kaloskaya gatsos. Actually, she's a woman, so kalekaya gatse. Yeah, like, if you think about it, just like Fuorilegge by Eros Villain, Cuoricini by Comacose, it is very TikTokish. Like, it is, like, while Fuorilegge or Cuoricini really have basically the choreography and they are clearly for TikTok, this song from Serena Brancale is like, you can dance it, like, you can, like, I am 100% sure that in Italy, if you go in Italy this summer, you will have Serena Brancale like 24/7. Like, many, in fact, said that Serena Brancale would have been amazing at the Eurovision. I and I think so as well. Like, again, I'm happy Lucio Corsi is going, but even if Serena, well, because Lucio Corsi now probably is going to do the translation because of how central the lyrics are. But if you send Serena Brancale singing half Italian, half Napolitan at the Sanremo Eurovision Song Contest, like, the point of the song is live in the moment, be happy, enjoy the moment, dance. You don't have to explain the lyrics. You feel it. Like, half of it is in Napolitan. Like, there are Italians who didn't even understand what she was saying in the part in Napolitan. So, what's the problem? Like, you feel the music. Like, this is a perfect example of a song where you don't have to understand what the lyric says, because first of all the lyrics is very simple, and second of all the music is doing an amazing job at communicating the vibe. You can't. Italy doesn't send songs in English. It is a potential choice of the artist to eventually remake the song, so make a cover of the song in English. But technically, Italy sends the song in Italian because the whole point of Sanremo Music Festival is to sing in Italian. In fact, last year, in 2024, we had a song 90% in Napolitan dialect, the one from Joliet, I per me tu per te. Guys, if I'll have to analyze that song, like, I am already preparing the apology video for people from Naples. I can just hope nobody will see that video because I will mess up the whole pronunciation. My Napolitan is not that good. I probably speak better French than Napolitan. So, there you go. But there was a big drama concerning Joliet last year because he brought on the stage a song and performed it, a song 90% in Napolitan. And and for example, it was even more heated, the whole drama last year, because Joliet risked to win. Joliet was pretty much like Olly this year, okay? She was very close at winning. It's just that the press and radio, TV, like media in general, decided to punish Joliet and drag him down with the points so Angelina Mango could win. But he was very close to the win, okay? However, it is true that the song is basically in Napolitan. It is a Napolitan more understandable because I read the... I remember that last year I read the lyrics and they are understandable. A bit complicated if you are not, if you don't know Italian quite well. But if you know Italian, personal opinion, you shouldn't have issues understanding what he's saying. It was very understandable. On the other hand, Serena Brancale was less understandable. Like, there are portions, as I explained, where I had issues, and I don't know, like, full disclosure, I don't know if the translation I did was correct, and I'm ready to make corrections in the comment section if people from Naples come and say, no, actually this means and translates as, and I would be like, bro, I trust you, whatever you say, it's not my cup of tea. I don't speak this. I usually listen to friends speaking in Napolitan, but I don't know how. But I don't know how to speak Napolitan. I can barely speak my own dialect, because we have this thing that in big cities in the north, we are losing our dialects, and our dialects are becoming more accents and slangs, like in other countries, which I don't like, because, for example, I understand my dialect, but I have trouble speaking it, because I have parts of my family speaking in my dialect, which is called Piemontese, and I understand them 90% of the times. Like, I can miss some words, but generally speaking, I have no problems. For example, it is from a certain part of my family. This part of my family speaking, mainly my grandparents, the dialect. To me, they speak in dialect with no problem, with no problems, with no issues. But for example, usually they do not speak dialect with my siblings, because they cannot understand. My siblings do not understand our dialect, for example. And it is actually an issue, because, for example, I understand those people who speak more dialect, because more south you go in Italy, stronger dialects are, because those dialects represent more the cultural identity. So people are very jealous of it, rightfully speaking. And on social media, you can still find a lot of discussions concerning this point, because we had a whole portion of our history where people were, generally speaking, so like until the generation of my grandparents, so until the silent generation, the main languages in the different regions were actually the dialects. My grandparents didn't speak Italian. They spoke not all of them, but because I have 6 grandparents, long story, I know, and 4 of them spoke mainly dialect. The other 2 spoke 2.5, because one is half and half, but like only one spoke almost exclusively in Italian. All the others spoke at least 50% in dialect. That's why I can understand it, but I cannot speak it, because I was used to answer in Italian while they were talking to me in Piemontese. The knowledge of dialects in southern regions were and still are much stronger. At certain point, more or less during the period of the baby boom, so when the boomer generation was born, schools in Italy started to push more Italian, because it's very complex, but to put it simply, the country felt like we needed to be more united. And how do you do it? Both through common culture, but even more through common language, which became Italian. Even for Italian, we have at least 3 standard Italians. One is based on Milanese, so the dialect from Lombardia centered in Milano. One is based on Toscano, so the dialect spoken in Tuscany, and one is based on Romano, the dialect from Rome, which is in Lazio. So it is not that easy to push this idea that we need the common language, that Italian is more important than dialects, we need to push more Italian and whatnot. There was a marketing decision that I don't agree with that much, which was shaming people speaking dialect. The issue, though, is that we have a big problem between North and South, because despite moving the capital to Roma, I don't know if you know, but originally the capital of Italy was in Torino. Then we moved it to Firenze and at least to Roma. Despite Lazio, so the region of Roma, being in the center towards the south, the regions that got more wealth from the country always been the regions in the north, mainly in the northwest, because we had Fiat, because we had many industries opening in Lombardia, Liguria, Piemonte, not really Valle d'Aosta, but mainly Piemonte, Lombardia, Liguria, a bit Emilia-Romagna, but the industries were pretty much all in Milano and Torino. Now, what was the issue? That the southern region, and at the beginning also the northeast, then the northeast nowadays managed to do something about it. The most penalized regions were the ones in the south, so from Lazio, from Roma and below. And these led these regions to pretty much hate the north and the Italy, because of course, if in the constitution we have written that everyone in Italy is the same, that Italy is united, that everyone should be equal and whatnot, and then you treat regions differently, always bring pretty much a problem, understandably so. Also because the regions of the north predated a bit from the regions from the south, because of course no investment in the south, it means that the region in the south were left dying. So people, if they want to leave, because in the southern region we still have many issues, because even in the islands like Sicily and Sardinia, we have a big issue where there are no hospitals, there are no schools, there are no services, except for there are no infrastructure. Like internet in South Italy is still in a awful condition, like literally the infrastructure. While in the north is more developed because they kept investing in something that was having success instead of trying to doing a little bit of redistribution of resources. So of course what happened that those who wanted a better life migrated to the northern regions, and many industries, companies in the northern region even exploited workers from the south. To put it in perspective, situation was so bad that many places, many buildings in the north didn't rent apartments and houses to people coming from the south, because they treated them like as inferior. Like, I'm not making this up. I have friends to which this happened. Like, I was very happy my family wasn't like that, but family friends like told me that this is something that happened. And before doing this with southern regions, we did it with the regions from the east. So, for example, Veneto, Friuli Venezia Giulia, and so on. Cherry on top. So, very difficult situation. And what was the natural reaction? You don't want us. You are trying to force on us a culture that we almost see as foreigner, external, because it is different. In fact, even those people saying saying Italy doesn't mean anything, because we have so much differences and so much complexity among regions that speaking of Italy like one thing, it is almost never correct. Italy is a troubled country with a lot of difficulties and zero standardization. So this is actually a topic concerning our country. It is an issue, it is a problem, not solved yet. In fact, if you want to know more about it, you can search articles and videos concerning la questione meridionale, which goes on and on, which is like this difficult situation and this difference between northern region and southern regions. So what happened that for southern region being discriminated, dialect and cultural identity going also through language was even more dear to them, even more precious, and having the capital imposing on them a common language was like a pain, was something they didn't want to do. And in fact, that's why I'm saying for many people from southern regions, their dialect comes like it is their native language is not Italian, but their dialect. And that's why I'm saying be careful when you see content about Italian in Italy, because the majority of Italians don't know how Italian as a language works. But not because I want to be evil or dismissing, because culturally speaking, there is a lot of complexity. Okay, everyone cheers for the same football team, but we don't have this issue because our national team is not doing good. It hasn't been doing good for several years now, as far as I know. So there is that as well. Also, probably in Trentino Alto Adige, they might cheer for Germany or Austria, but I'm not sure about it, because, like, to put it in perspective, in some region we even have more official languages. Sardinia has Italian and lingua sarda or sardo. In Trentino Alto Adige we have Italiano, like Italian, German, and Ladino. In Valle d'Aosta we have Italian and French. And in many regions, many people would like to elevate their own dialect to language, just like it happened with Sardinia. Can't really blame them. Also because I am a great fan of language variety. In my opinion, you should know at least 2 or 3 languages. In my case, it would be my dialect. I would like to know it more because I care about where I come from. However, the language I care about the most is Italian, and that's why I don't take it well when people start telling me, oh, but actually, because in Italian we do these mistakes actually in the spoken Italian. No, bro, if you speak like that, it's your problem. I do not speak like that. And then English, because or French, because it is pretty much like these two languages are the common language in Europe. French, or less and less, more and more English, like pretty much the common language now is English. So no, as an Italian, the three languages important that you should know are your dialect, Italian, and English. However, many people don't care about Italian and English pretty much, so they speak it as it comes, and it is what it is, sort of situation. By the way, don't quote me on football and soccer, because I like my knowledge about football and soccer, it is just no. Don't quote me. I'm not a reliable source of information concerning mainly Italian soccer and football, but generally soccer and football as a topic. Not reliable source concerning this. But yeah, like it would be cool to have a country where we speak at least these three languages, because it is important to have common languages, but at the same time, it is important to keep and preserve your dialect, because it is extremely culturally relevant. The problem is that I am like the 0.1% of Italian population, because what does actually happens in the Italian population that you have two main factions. Everyone should speak Italian. Spoiler, they usually speak Italian with the influence of their dialect nonetheless. Don't trust Italians writing on and speaking on social media. We are not reliable. Books and websites like Treccani or Accademia della Crusca are reliable. We are not. I am probably one of the few intellectually honest enough to tell you that, but we are not reliable. Exactly because we don't even realize how important, how influential our dialects are when it comes to our way to speak and express ourselves. We even translate our thinking process to foreign languages. Like, it is incredible. Italian minds, special. And so yeah, there is pretty much this issue, and we have the two main factions that are everyone should speak Italian. Those who speak dialect are actually ignorant, which I don't agree with. You should know well both. Often people don't know well neither. And then we have the other faction, which is my dialect. It is superior to Italian, because Italian, it is just a common language created ad hoc to like give us the possibility to communicate with each other, to flatten differences because we are not united. So something actually negative and part of standardization. And I am proud of my dialect, and that is superior. You cannot take away that you can take it away from me. I am superior because I have more cultural depth than you, because I know my dialect and you don't, and so you are culturally inferior. So basically we have two factions who say the same thing. I am culturally superior because I know my dialect. I am culturally superior because I know Italian. I would like the middle way, but I am well aware of the fact that I am the minority. So I made peace with that, and it is what it is. I'll try my best nonetheless. So After this beautiful rant and TED talk, I love that probably no, but like there are 4 people in the entire channel also listening to me rambling in the discussion part of the video. Like this is for you guys, my beautiful TED talks and rambling with like going a bit everywhere, completely not linear. Thank you for listening to me. That said, I hope you enjoyed the live stream. We'll keep going with more Sanremo 2025 songs next week. Of course, remember that if you have a specific request, I'll take them. You just have to tell me. Exactly, V for vent. And that said, don't forget to let me know in the comments what do you think about Serena Brancale, Anema. Serena Brancale is like one, you can type one thing in the comment, two things in the comments together, bravissima e bellissima. This is the only thing accepted, the only compliments in the comment section, okay? The rest will be deleted. No, of course, I'm kidding. Let me know what you think about this song. And grazie everyone for watching and arrivederci.